What's up, you guys? So earlier today I posted a story that on the death certificate of Jeanette Dubois, Cab Calloway is listed as her father. The legendary Cab Calloway is listed as her father, and this is news to the world. I saw in the comments that you guys said you wanted a video on this, you wanted more information on this, and I got the tea. I did my digging, I did my due diligence, and I got the tea. I had to go on Ancestry.com and everything, but I got the tea on this, and it looks like it could be possible that is true. Jeanette Dubois is her stage name. Her actual name is Jeanette Teresa Dubois, and she was born August 5th, 1932. Now, this is new information as well. Her birthday is new information because she was reportedly 74 at the time of her death, because publicly she was known to have been born in 1945. However, Jeanette Dubois seems to have been a mysterious woman, and it appears that she was being dishonest about her age, which is not uncommon for actresses, especially older actresses who want to get younger jobs. It's not uncommon for them to be dishonest about their age. This is a document. This document is so critical. Y'all gonna come back to this document. But right now we're just looking at her age on this document. This document is an entry document from Brazil. She went to Brazil. And this is the document, kind of like a visa. It's an entry document, and it lists her birth date as August 5th, 1932. You can see that right there in the center. It says her parents are Gordon and Lillian, and her profession is a ballerina. She's a dancer. Bailar is dance. So it's ballerina, but at the same time, it just means dancer. So y'all keep that information in mind, because we're going to come back to it. But for right now, we're just verifying that she was born in 1932. She was an American actress, singer, songwriter, and dancer, and she was best known for her portrayal of Willona Woods, the neighborhood gossip maven and friend of the Evans family on the sitcom Good Times, which aired from 1974 to 1979. Jeanette Dubois additionally co-wrote and sang the theme song Moving On Up for the Jeffersons, which aired from 1975 until 1985. Now, I want to give some of you some history on Cab Calloway because he is a legend. And he was born December 25th, Christmas Day in 1907, and he died November 18th, 1994. He was a legendary jazz singer, dancer, band leader, and actor. So they were both entertainers, and he was associated with the Cotton Club in Harlem, New York City, where he was a regular performer and became a popular vocalist of the swing era. His band included trumpeters Dizzy Gillespie. So he had Dizzy Gillespie in his band, Jonah Jones, Doc Cheatham, and saxophonist Ben Webster and Leon Chu Berry. He had several hit records in the 1930s and 40s, and he became known as the Heidi-Ho Man of jazz for his most famous song, Minnie the Moocher, which is popularly known as Heidi-Ho. He reached the Billboard charts in 5 consecutive decades from the 1930s to the 1970s, and he was the first African-American musician to sell 1 million records from a single song, which means he was the first African-American to go platinum. And he was also the first African-American to have a nationally syndicated radio show. He was also inducted into the Big Band and Jazz Hall of Fame and the International Jazz Hall of Fame. So he was, like I said, he was a legendary person. Now, if we go back to this death certificate, Jeanette Dubois' mother is listed as Lillian Goetti. So I looked up Lillian Goetti. I had no choice but to use Ancestry.com because when you use the link that's in Jeanette Dubois' Wikipedia, it opens a website I don't have a membership to. But I do have a membership to Ancestry.com, and I was able to locate Jeanette Dubois' mother. This is the 1930s census. This actually is my family census. This is in Brooklyn in the 1930s, Kings County, and it shows Lillian Goetti. She was the daughter of the head of household, female. At the time, she was 19. In 1930, she was 19. She was single. She was born in Georgia, just like on the death certificate, it says that she was born in Georgia. And I want to give you some information on her background. She was an operator in a sweater factory. She was an operator in a sweater factory. in 1930. Then she eventually got married in 1934. Now, mind you, if you go back to it, Jeanette Dubois' birthday is in 1932. So her mother had her before she actually got married. And what it looks like is that her mother may have been involved with Cab Calloway before she got married to her stepfather, whose name was Gordon Dubois. This is the 1934 Brooklyn Marriage Index. And the way it's listed, it's all alphabetical. And on this side, it lists the brides only by last name. It doesn't list their groom's name right beside them. This is all completely alphabetical. So for brides, it has her listed under her maiden name, Goetti, Lillian Goetti. Now, while I was on Ancestry.com, I also looked up Cab Calloway, whose full name is Cabell, either Cabell or Cable. I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but it's Cabell. Cabell Calloway, and it has him listed. This is from the 1920 census, and it has him listed here when he was a child. This is just some interesting information about him. He was the stepson to the head of household, and you can see the head of household was his stepdad, John Fortune. They have him listed as a black male. And I want to go back to this. If you look at Cab Calloway, you can see that Cab Calloway is a mixed race person. So you see on Jeanette Dubois' death certificate, she's also listed as mulatto. Her daughter filled out her death certificate and she listed her as mulatto, which may be more accurate. It sounds like Cab Calloway, if he legitimately is her father, he's obviously mixed race. Her mother is listed as black on her records, but it's possible that she was mixed race too. So this doesn't seem, the fact that she's listed as mulatto doesn't seem inaccurate to me. Now, when I was looking at Cab Calloway's Ancestry.com records, a lot of travel records came up because he was a traveling musician. So there had to be hundreds of travel records. And one that I noticed, I just so happened to click on one, and it's from Brazil. It's from Brazil, July 4th, 1959. And it reminded me that one of the records that I was looking at for Jeanette Dubois was also from Brazil, 1959. Hers was July 5th, 1959. You can see that stamped here. And you can see his is the day before, July 4th, 1959. So I started wondering, why would they be coming from Brazil? Why would they both be coming from the same country so randomly? Why would they both be coming from Brazil one day after each other? And so I Googled Jeanette Dubois by the given spelling of her name, Jeanette, Jeannette, Jeanette Dubois. And what came up was that she was a performer in the Cab Calloway Review, which toured Brazil. It toured all over the world, including Brazil. So her and Cab Calloway were there together performing. If you look on this website, they even have the flyer from the performance, and it says the Copacabana Palace presents the Cotton Club Review of 1959 starring Cab Calloway. And if you go down the list of performers, in small print, because she's a dancer at this point, in small print you see Jeanette Dubois. Jeanette Dubois. So that's their relationship. She was one of the dancers in his review. And also on this blog, on another page on this blog, they actually show him with his dancers. And you see here in this picture, this first picture is Maury Layton. And then the second picture in the middle says Cab Calloway and chorus girl Jeanette Dubois. So this looks like a romantic display. It looks like he's performing a song and singing to this woman romantically. But this is actually, if this is true that this is her father, this picture is not what it looks like. This picture is actually a father trying to give his daughter some shine. This is a father putting a spotlight on his daughter. And if you look closely at Jeanette Dubois, the way she's looking at him, she's not necessarily looking at him like romantically. She's looking at him like she's amused. The same way my daughter looks at her dad when he's singing to her, like she's amused. That's how she's looking at him. She's not looking at him romantically at all. He could secretly have fathered her with her mother, Lillian, and never made it public. Cab Calloway already had one daughter named Kamei from a relationship with a woman named Zelma Proctor, who we also see listed as Zelma Martin. She was a former classmate of his. But then also in July of 1928, Cab Calloway had gotten married. You see on the 1920 census, he's listed as single. He was only 11 years old, then he's listed as single. But if you look at the 1930 census, Cab Calloway is listed as married. He's 22 at this point and he's married. So I believe this is why we'll never really know if Cab Calloway fathered Jeanette Dubois, because he was married at the time of her birth. She was born in Philadelphia in 1932, and he was married. Now, going back to Jeanette Dubois, she was a very private person. She was a very private person to the point where people didn't even know how many children she had. Some reports say she had 2 children, some say she had 3 children, some say she had 4. The most accurate report seems to be that she had 4 children. One of her children is Dr. Kesha Gupta Field. And if you go back to Jeanette Dubois' travel documents, you can see her name is listed here as Jeanette Dubois Gupta. This is in 1959, and at this point, she's listed as divorced. She lists herself as divorced. But the thing is, in the media in 1964, 5 years after this, she described herself as being married. This is from Ebony magazine. This was published in 1964, and they did a short review on Jeanette Dubois. She was an understudy in a theatrical production. And it says, Jeanette Dubois symbolizes the seldom seen understudy who dreams of having an onstage role of her own one day. In Nobody Loves an Albatross, in which she understudies Gertrude, Jeanette is the 3rd Broadway play in which she has worked in this capacity. And she says, I much rather act than understudy. It's very frustrating being an understudy when your main ambition is not merely to have a job in the theater, but to act and develop as an actress. It goes on to say, Miss Dubois belongs to a special class of actress, the secure housewife and mother with no financial worries, but with a burning passion to be on stage. Married to a successful Long Island plumbing and heating contractor, she commutes between a large country house in the suburbs where her 3 children are housed and a Manhattan apartment, which she uses kind of as a headquarters for her theatrical activities, which include radio and TV work. She says, quote, if I were financially dependent on the theater, I don't think I could make it. Broadway understudies don't earn much money. So this is in 1964. So she's telling this publication, Ebony magazine, that she's married, even though 5 years prior on her travel documents, she listed herself as divorced. That's why I say Jeanette Dubois, what we're finding out after her death shows that she was a very mysterious woman. It sounds like she painted a picture of herself in the media that she wanted people to have. But in real life, she was very secretive. And in real life, she never told anybody that Cab Calloway was allegedly her father, even though she worked with him and was a backup dancer for him. She was a Cotton Club dancer. But she never told that allegation that Cab Calloway was allegedly her father. She literally took it to the grave with her. You guys, leave a comment and let me know what you think about this tea, y'all. This is some old school tea, but leave a comment and let me know what you think. And as always, thanks for watching.